Chronicle of the Crown, Session 25. Sans John Drury. Alas, the show must go on. And we are going to pick up directly from where we left it, as in we are in the court of King Kameron, the first of his name. We are currently located in the sort of ruined topside portion of the tower that you guys make your lair in. And there's a bunch of spectators as you are having an audience with the brother of Wyatt Medwer, Adelstan, who is or perhaps was, to be determined, a High Inquisitor of the Covenant of the First Flame. And he has appeared here, having sent a message via proxy that he would like to have a meeting. Ooh. He has arrived, being carried on a sort of improvised palanquin consisting of a simple chair and some wooden supports, being carried by four knightly figures in full plate armor. Adelstan does not look well, pale, drained. He does not have a shirt on. He is bandaged at the midriff and the side where he got impaled on a window support in a previous session is red through the bandages, indicating he is quite hurt still from that. And pale, fairly sort of, I suppose, he is quite a wreck physically, at the very least. And he has presented now to King Kameron his wish, which is to be granted amnesty. No, not amnesty, asylum. What say you, King Kameron?
I'll unmute myself first. Okay. So I imagine I have a chair rather than a throne right now. It's just kind of a meeting room that was sort of in humble beginnings. I'm going to examine him first before I say anything. Can I see the branding, which I'm familiar with?
I forgot to highlight that. I got so caught up on his basically bleeding out. He's got on his upper chest, he has two sort of palm-sized sigils of some kind, which at the sort of bottom of the carving on the sigils, there seems to be kind of like a smoldering glow, almost as if, having been carved into his flesh, the sigil is smoldering.
Actively smoldering.
But sort of quite subtly. The glow seems to be quite deep in the flesh. And the sigils aren't bleeding, even though they have been obviously like carved on with a sharp instrument.
Okay, I think given that I'm perceiving an obvious threat here as this obviously sorcerous and battered person like rocks up with his knights, perceiving the danger as per my instincts, I'm going to have my sort of weapon drawn, but I'm going to be like holding it down by my side, so I'm not sort of like that, but I've got it drawn and I'm holding it probably like with my hand resting on it, just to basically make it obvious to his knights that like, if you want to start something, I'll have like stepped forward, so I'm just a little bit ahead of the true king, His Majesty King Kameron, so that if they do throw down, I can like interpose myself and tell like the other like flunkies to like get the king out of the way. But I'm just going to sort of stand there, like the obvious implication that if you want to throw down, like we can do this, but I'm not going to like leap to immediately attack because obviously they're here to see the king. It's down to the king to determine their eventual fate.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand. I'm not going to address Adelstan directly yet, but I'm going to start to just walk around the chamber, sort of circling him. And I'm going to speak to the court. I'm guessing there's some nobles.
I will be glued to your side while you're walking around.
Yeah.
As you're walking around, I'm literally going
I'm
next to
examining
you.
him. I'm considering, like I'm drawing off for dramatic effect. As Ishmael follows me, I notice there's a dwarf there that I've not seen before. I imagine
hiding so hard that no one can see him.
Miss you, John Doe. You come back soon. Okay, and I'm circling around. I'll start dressing close. You see, before you knew me, pretty much everyone here, I travelled north on behalf of the Dark Watchers. I'm a Dark Watcher, don't you know? And I went with representatives of the Elven Kingdoms, a noble kingsman called Tyrell, and a rambunctious and strangely enjoyable dwarf, Lavia. And we ventured forth to a place that not many, even today, as learned as we are, have seen for some centuries, the fated city of Dulciriath. I'm just continuing to walk around in our search for the crown, which I now bear as both a privilege and a.
Do you have it on, Karen?
Not on me, no.
Yeah.
No. No, I don't wear it unless I have to wear it right now. I'm still learning.
Just checking.
Just checking, yeah. And we encountered these creatures. It would be wrong of me to call this person a man, even though they still are. This is our future if we do not band together. What happened to this man is all of our fates if we do not stand now as one. He has been branded in such a way that connects him with this king from the north. He also bears a crown, which some of you may know, and I'm sure some will soon. He may even be able to hear me from this far distance through that mark. It bears some magical essence that we do not really understand yet, but we will, giving him a knowing, giving us a knowing look. This is the one we have to contend with. This is the battle right here between. If we do not put aside our differences and fight as one, as a united front, then we will become slaves to this creature, like this man has. He has now put himself at my mercy.
I think at this point, because obviously I'm trying to sort of, as a well-known noble and war hero, I'm trying to show deference to the king, to sort of display to other people that, he's worthy of being the king because I'm deferring to him. And I'm just going to turn to him like very quietly, but in that sort of like fake sort of like stage whispering, where like I'm trying to make it sound quiet, but I actually want everyone else to hear it. And I'm going to say, well, what is your wish, my lord? Should we cast this stranger from your court?
I would speak if the king wills it.
He says, still like he barely moves. Like he's conjuring up enough to to talk, but doesn't really have any other movement.
I pause and I'm please speak.
The king is sorely mistaken. There is nothing in me that is bound to this blasphemy in the north. I bear two things. The first, which you can see on my flesh, is my bargain.
And he flops a hand towards one of the knights that are still carrying his sort of barely put together palanquin.
Mm-hmm.
With these creatures, so that they bore me here. The second is the curse of the flame, which comes from Rathawn, not the north. Riethil is not an ally. Of whatever the thing in the north is.
Interesting.
The flame is powerful.
He raises his head just barely and focuses in on Kameron. He says,
I know its power, and its power is within me, but it is too much for flesh. I tried to explain it to your advisor, King. He will not hear me. I've come to ask if you truly have this crown, to use it and lift the curse. What say you, King?
I fold my arms in consideration of his words. And
there's several voices very loudly now whispering, just like, blasphemer, heretic, in the audience.
yeah. I'm just kind of like, let me think, man. Okay.
I'm just going to say again quietly to the king, I'm going to say, obviously, my lord, this is looked upon disfavourably by those here, but if you are truly destined to be the one who unites humanity against the great darkness and our allies without, for all his faults, this man is human, and he is asking for your help.
Yes.
I have, although not in the same circumstances, I have been in similar circumstances where I have had no one to turn to ask for help. And although I do not know this man or what he has been through, I know the look of desperation and hopelessness that I see in his eyes. I've seen it reflected in my own face too many times.
Quite right. He is at the end of his path.
Indeed, and is it?
He has no reason to lie. But at the same time, I have dealt with spirits and creatures,
Of
things
course,
that are not quite man.
You
Never
are.
be too.
You are far more apt in those areas than myself, Your Majesty. But if you are hoping to build a better future for humankind, I would hope that would include some small measure of mercy and charity for those who are in a less fortunate position than yourself.
And this is why you are on my council, Ishmael, not just for your prodigious skill with the blade. I intend to help you, Addleston, but perhaps not in the way that you expect. If I am to lead these people, a mantle I did not choose for myself, I will endeavor to do so better than my forebears and lead by example. I'm not going to do it through fear, and I'm not going to brand you or distort you, perhaps if that was within my power. However, I will not recklessly use the crown on anyone, for its power is dangerous. But I will help you. We will take you in. We will mend you as best we can. We have people that can see what we can do for you. We have great talent in this city. We will see what we can do. We will find what this flame has done. If it can be reversed, we will do so for you. If we cannot, then we will do what we can to make you comfortable. But no one can demand the power of the crown upon themselves. It does not belong to anyone. It belongs to us all.
It belongs to the people.
It belongs to the people. And I only use it in defense of such. But we will take you in, as Ishmael rightly said. Battered that you are still a man. And my
We have an
responsibility,
accord, King. At the end of this path, I hope we may yet save the Keeper of the Flame as well. I care not for my own life. I hope
And I
we
do turn to him.
may do
Is
greater things.
Is the keeper still who was there some years ago? The name was, it's a lady, isn't it? The high priestess.
Yeah.
And I'd name her. It's like,
Mhm.
is it
And
still
he
this
says,
such?
There's only ever been one Keeper of the Flame.
So history says.
It's true.
As this part of the conversation is going on, I'm going to sheathe my sword. I'm going to walk towards basically round the side of the palanquin that's got Adol stand on. I'm going to have my hands like that so they can see that his creatures can see I'm not attacking it.
None of the knights move at all. They don't react when you're approached.
And I've basically got two aims in doing this. The first is get a bit of a closer look at those night creatures, see if they're fleshy creatures, they're animated arm or whatever. But the main thing I want to do is, obviously I know this is a magic curse. I'm not going to be able, because you said so, I'm not going to be able to lift a magic curse. That's fine. However, I can see it's having a physical effect on him. I do have a knowledge of herbs and stuff like that. So basically I want to have a look at the physical condition, see if I can't cure him, do I potentially think I could come up with something like some poultice or concoction that might at least make him a bit more comfortable, like pain relief, etc. So I know a bit about that myself, because obviously I've never been able to cure the disease that ravaged me, but I could manage it a little bit better.
With a quick assess of him, he is. You could, if you whip out some kind of, maybe opiate derivative. You can make it, my sort of more comfortable for him. But it's very plain. This man is dying, so he needs something other than, pain relief. He needs an actual person to stitch him up and sort out his insides.
So I'm gonna take whatever opiates or whatever pain relief I can get to hand with my herbal kit, and I'm just gonna offer it out to him, and I'm gonna say this may serve to make you more comfortable while His Majesty King Kameron is considering what can be done in a more permanent fashion to aid you.
He, holds out a hand weakly.
Yeah, I'll hand it to him.
Yep. No, he gets it, and the hand just flops into his lap. The knights themselves, there's a whiff of sort of burned wood when you get close to them, and you don't really see from the joints. You don't really see anything inside. So
I will ask them if they require any nourishment or
his companions, you mean?
Yeah. I will address them if they.
Adelstan shakes his head.
Okay. It would appear he has made some sort of bargain, Ishmael. He may have talents similar to mine. Obviously of a lesser degree.
I'm sure you are correct, Your Majesty. As a simple warrior, I would not know such things. I have the herbal tonic that I've given him will attempt to ease the pain, but I fear he needs medicine far beyond the mortal like that a humble herbalist like myself can offer.
I have an idea of how we can solve his problem. It may take some time.
I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best to make him as comfortable as I can in the meantime. But unfortunately, the natural remedies with which I'm so familiar do have their limits.
Do we know this is Wyatt's brother?
I think he's mentioned him by name.
Okay.
Yes, he has, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say then once he has returned, I will inform him of his fate. You may wish to speak with him.
Okay. So we can, cut there and jump onto a different thing. Where do you put this guy?
I am going to put him in some form of armed guard for now.
No, I mean, location-wise.
Oh, I don't really have a castle to myself, or or even a palace, or even a shack right now.
You've got a glorified cellar.
I would suggest that perhaps we take him to the abbey.
I was thinking perhaps they'll take him in.
Because obviously there's other people there who they're used to dealing with like sick people. So like, if we have to leave for a bit, I can basically say these are the herbs I've given him. Can you keep him on them?
I'm going to speak to my captain though and get a guard placed, because despite what he says, Wyatt did tell me that now that I know that is evolution, that he was attacked by this thing and he mutated into something horrendous. So there could be still some lingering power there, or it may be recovering. So, and I wasn't naive enough to not notice its hunger for the crown, even if it was nicely worded. Be careful.
Right. So he's going to be there.
Yeah, well, see if I can prevail on Father Ambrogino to take him in. Obviously, I'll give him all the details of this is the tonic I've given him. He's pretty much dying due to some sort of curse or malady. Obviously, the king's trying to find a way to cure him, but in the meantime, we're just trying to keep him as comfortable as we can.
Well, if we can, at some point, me and Ishni will have this discussion. It'll be like, if I can cure him, then I can cure others. It is a...
On the down low as well, I'm also hoping, presumably, when we send him to the abbey, the night creatures will go with him.
Yeah, they carry him there.
So, low key, I'm hoping if anyone tries to break into the abbey while he's there, though effectively those knights in trying to help defend him might also help defend the abbey.
Yeah, whip out the old swords and
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so he's going to be stationed there for the time being. Next on the list, we've got maybe a day or two later, whatever. There is I believe I mentioned it before. There is sort of more and more displaced people, wanderers, everyone sort of streaming down from the north. And on one day, a particular sort of convoy of displaced folks arrives in Karameros, and it includes Rathawn, and the pins and needles have made contact with Rathawn. You've been told, on the day that
they finally made good their promise.
They've made contact with Rathawn, and they've arranged for Rathawn to come and find you when she gets to town. And so she does. Where does Rathawn find you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Do I know she's coming? Aware that she's
you've been told by pins and needles that
presumably reclining on some velvet cushions then in a dressing
I'm
gown.
gonna have her come to the Dark Watcher's place in one of the libraries.
Okay.
I'll have some tea, some hot drink prepared for arrival. Maybe some soft jazz. Guess that's only a joke. The place. Okay. So yeah, I'll wait for her there if I know she's coming. I'll be studying. I'm getting letters probably and stuff all the time now coming through. Dark Watchers are probably getting a bit angsty that I'm taking up so much space now. My inbox is getting
you
big.
and your court. Your fucking royal guard.
I think Ishmael will probably be with me at the time, unless he's got something else going on.
Yeah, almost likely to be with you because I'm trying to persuade you at the minute. I imagine I'm trying to persuade you that you need to look for bigger premises because whilst the tower is obviously great for your study needs, as more and more people are drawn to your court, as they surely will be as your fame spreads, you will need a bigger building to house them. So
the only place I can take belongs to nobles. They will not take too kindly to me displacing them. The regent of the city, which I believe I have spoken to at least some representative of at some point.
Representatives probably, but
yeah.
Well, we
so
basically.
What do you?
Sorry, I was going to say we basically either need to acquire sufficient wealth to buy premises, or you're going to need to get some of these nobles who are behind you. To basically, you have to give them certain concessions to get them to concede to you using one of their already existing premises.
And you are right. The city is growing, full of desperate people now. Happening a lot faster than I expected, Ishmael. And even the timeline I was on was pretty fast. Anyway.
It is often the way of things. Once the stone has started rolling down the hill, it gathers speed as it moves.
There's an abandoned church or something we can reinforce.
If you wish, I could. I know the back alleys and byways of this city almost as well as any man. I could see if I could locate such a property for you, my lord.
Something, yes, definitely. And maybe not the top of my list, but definitely something we should look into.
I understand when I get a spare moment after this audience, I will attempt to find such a place for you.
I can avoid making more enemies than needed, then that would be great.
I understand.
But if it comes to it, I will have to politely ask somebody to donate me their space. Perhaps you could reach out to your nobles as well, see which would be amicable.
Indeed, I will. I'll attempt to find you a currently unoccupied place first. If that fails, I may be able to use what small reputation I have to prevail on the nobles to either donate or loan you a suitable property. Yeah, I will do my best, my king.
We do need some money.
Indeed, I was also going to make a suggestion to you about that. Now, obviously, I grew up in a noble family, although not hereabouts. But one of the major ways that lords raised money back where I grew up was obviously through various forms of taxes, and also in the hosting of great tournaments where people would pay or donate items to participate, and the person who won the tournament would receive some sign of the lord, or in this case the king's favour. It may be worthwhile for you to negotiate with some of the nobles with regards to this. Obviously, we are not in a position to tax people at this stage.
It's hard to tax those who have nothing.
Indeed, but if you can gain enough prestige amongst the nobles, it may be possible for you to receive gifts from them which would help you pay for such things. But I would need to think about such matters, my lord.
There is a third. I do not wish to think of it too much, but the secret ingredient, Ishmael, is crime.
I don't follow, my lord.
Well, the city cannot afford to, well, I cannot afford to tax the people here. They're poor enough. But I could take the wealth from another city. We do have friends in other places. It would be risks, but...
That is true, but I would caution against such things, my lord. I mean no disrespect, but your reign as the true king is still young. It may be wise to resolve whatever problems there are in this city before you think about extending your hand further.
That's true. Well, I was thinking of taking some money from another city that's not going to help us. That's two birds with one stone.
I would suggest that if we are attempting to profit from bringing wrongdoers to justice, that we could perhaps attempt to redistribute some of the wealth from those who are already stealing and committing crimes in this city.
I have a favor I could ask as well, but I don't know how soon a response would be. I know a dwarf still deep in the mountains, some distance from here. There was riches there, a lot of gold.
If you think that would work, it may be wise. After all, you were talking about cementing the bonds with the mountain folk and the forest folk. Perhaps it may be a time to reach out to them if you think they would be responsive. I know little of them myself.
Well, I'm sure I could coach it in terms that he would be amicable. One cannot stand in the ashes of the church without money.
Where's
That's
the
a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke, Ishmael. You would.
I have no love for the church, my lord.
Kameron, where's the true gold dagger?
That is an excellent question. I don't know if I've ever established it or got it out. I reckon it'll be stashed in this building somewhere. But I know Kameron knows where it is.
Yep.
That's the moment, like, if we know where we know, maybe you want to
close
consider
by.
selling that shit, my lord.
Yeah.
I know a pawnbroker on a back alley.
That's right. Although, if you did want, on like a serious note, if you did want to like host a tournament and it was like, oh, you have to like donate so much money to participate, basically being like, oh, the best person gets this rare fucking true gold dagger. That's not bad as far as prizes go, you know what I mean?
It did cross my mind, but I realised you pointed out that I've not actually mentioned it in some time where its location is.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of stuff on the plate, so.
It's true. But yes.
So- Yeah, please continue if you.
Well, I was just gonna say to Ishmael, I have several problems spinning right now. I have an idea of how to deal with Alderson's situation, or at least a potential solution. If our information's true.
Obviously, my sword arm is at your disposal, my lord. If there's anything you need from me for any of this, you have but to ask.
I'm not sure it's something you could do by yourself, but
I understand.
I will appreciate your companionship for where we go from here. For I cannot stay in this tower forever. There is things. A king cannot rest on his laurels.
That is true, and
Be proactive.
a wise king, as I believe you to be, given what all you have said.
He kind of does an awkward.
You have taken the necessary step of recognizing that even with your abilities and your no doubt formidable power, no one man can accomplish all of the tasks on their own. We all, no matter how self-sufficient we all occasionally have to reach out a hand to someone else to aid us in our problems.
Building a team.
Indeed, have you considered, perhaps, my lord, that it may be a wise course to create an inner circle for your court, a body of knights or good men, a council, if you will. I know many of the lords in the lands where I grew up, they would have a small cadre of trusted men that they could use to carry out their wishes. It may be wise for you to consider assembling such a body of men.
I have been considering such. I've been trying to see the actions of the people around me to see who would be suitable for these tasks. That's one thing I've learned from summoning. It's not necessarily what people say, it's what they do.
Indeed, a person's actions often speak louder than their words.
A creature may agree to something, but the way in which they accomplish their agreement is not always how you expect. And I think I just have a momentary flashback to, oh yeah, I'll repair the moon for you. Let's see how that's going. Much of what's been said recently troubles me.
Indeed.
Could really use some good news now. Do I hear the sounds of feet? Is this where it's been the moment?
As if on cue.
As if on cue.
Yeah. So Thrathwin emerges into the room of the library, I guess, the reading room, and is.
Does she look how I remember her from our last meeting?
She's got I suppose maybe it's like a pilgrim's robe, sort of very anonymous piece of clothing, and is carrying similarly almost like a pilgrim's walking stick. But otherwise, yes, she doesn't have armor or any of that stuff that she was walking around with in the north. She nods and says, "Well, this has been quite a surprise."
I just look at it for a second. Well, I did tell you.
Yes, but you realize how many arrogant people speak of fate and then die very shortly after.
Yes, and yes, this is true. I stand and walk towards her. But how many of them were in the company of a dwarf obsessed with fate? A elf born from a noble family, and a pair of these eyes. I reach out a hand to shake her.
Speaking of said eyes, is anything afoot?
Much is afoot, which is why I asked you here. Politely, and then I apologize a little bit more forcefully. I did not mean to intrude upon your mind. I think that you sensed my summons. For I did not jest in my intentions to get the crown. And I slide apart one of the bookcases, just kind of like a little compartment. And it's like a little box. And I reach out, I bring it out, put it down, open it up for her to see. I close it again, just to prove I am bluffing.
Yeah.
Much is afoot. And like I said, I hope to see you again. And now that we are here, I unsurprisingly would like to ask for your help.
What is it that you intend to do?
Well, I have learned much, Rithrin. Much about the world, about the situation we find ourselves in, and about yourself, actually.
Nothing good, I hope?
Interesting stories. Whether they are true or false, I care not. But I imagine there is some truth in what I heard. That the crown that you told us about in the north is you're a bit more familiar with than you kind of hinted at. Some would say that your hands are responsible for such a thing. And now I find myself responsible for this, so we have something in common again. But I'll come right out and say it. I'm not going to flow my words much. That would not even work with you, by no spirit. Or at least I think not mostly, anyway. Yeah. If what I heard is true, you're far older than anyone in this room, or building, or perhaps country. But again, I cannot.
Well, I was in the court
For a long time.
when it still existed.
What I want from you, and again, you are not. I could compel you to do this, but again, that's not the
She
kind
smiles at that.
Yeah, I could try at least, but that's not the kind of leader I want to be, and I'm trying to lead from example, since I'm in this position now. I want you to join me. I want you to join my court. It's small now, admittedly not the grandeur you're used to, but.
And
It
for
is
what
something.
purpose have you this court?
Well, to fix my problem that I helped create, but also to help fix your problem, to give you a shot at redemption. And I know that you talked a long game about giving up, but you're still here. You're still walking this world. And I think at some level you do care about the decisions you made. I think, again, we have that in common, because I fucked up pretty bad.
Did I not spend centuries
Exactly.
trying to remedy this?
Exactly.
And did I not tell you that it was all for naught?
Mhm. Well, things are different now. And I'm sure that is what has been said to you before.
I can see materially how they are different. You've brought
that back.
the true crown.
Yep, I said I would.
To the domains riddled with those who are not worthy or knowledgeable.
Exactly. Now, imagine my position. I can wear this thing, and I have. I was able to contact you.
Yes.
Yeah. And there is only one person possibly in the entirety of this kingdom, maybe even the world that we find ourselves in, that can actually help me understand this. And it's you. And that's the funny thing. Even with all this power, right, sitting right here, and even with all the power I could command, I still don't think I could make you help me. So I'm just going to ask. And I'm hoping you're going to do it for free. But I imagine
I've very little use for money and treasure. What is it that you need help with?
Well, I accidentally summoned a creature back from the void, and I bear its sigil in my. I just pointed my shadow. I brought it back. Didn't mean to. I was trying to learn, and I thought I was good enough to grasp it. And at the time, I'm sure I felt I was ready. I was not. You don't need to teach me that lesson. I already know. But I brought it back, and it is trying to destroy the world in its own way.
It died.
Nope.
In Dol Siriath, we kept the memory.
It's back.
And the honor. When you went in there, did you visit the Foxfire Fane?
I don't think so.
I would imagine
I distinctly remember you saying do not vary from the path that I've set you
Hmm.
upon.
Very good.
So at least you can see I'm a good student. And listen to my teacher.
Yes. Yes, but
It's back. Okay. I need help. Now, the advantage we have, and Ishmael, I apologize, you probably have no idea what I'm discussing here. The advantage here is
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will apprise me of any
it has
details I
a
need to know.
familial kind of bond to me. It doesn't want to kill me, Wraithwin. At least it doesn't want me to die first, or
I would
even
imagine not, because you bear the eyes.
exactly. So I have that advantage. I have to do battle with it, even though it is, in a weird way, family. But that's only one of my two problems. Oh, several now.
And how do you intend to engage in this battle?
Well, any decision I make is possibly tainted by that thing. That's why I need you as a clearer perspective. You've seen the world go to shit. There's probably stuff that you've forgotten that would terrify me. But you can help me. You can help me see what I cannot see with my own eyes. And I gesture at the kind of weirdness of them.
Mm-hmm.
That is an advantage. The second problem is the one that you created. But that's also my problem because it's my grandfather, great-great-grandfather, that you decided to make an unliving monster. No judgment there.
That would not have been the original idea
Intent?
and intent. The reality is different now, but that was not the intent.
If anyone's going to undo this, it is us two. The world may be beyond saving. Like I've seen the devastation. I've seen what's happened to the dwarfs, and I know
the elves are leaving, and not only that, the ones that are staying are being hunted down by one of the things that she pointed the crown or the box rather, by one of the things that these were made to vanquish long ages ago.
That is what I suspected, and Ishmael can verify me. I have spoken about helping the elves as soon as I am able.
That is true.
I'm not sure there is helping them.
If I can't help them, I can at least put the thing down that's tainting them. If not for the fact it helps me or my friend, it helped me get the crown. I owe him that much. These people deserve better. Again, I cannot make promises, but this is an opportunity for us both.
Explain.
An opportunity to actually help these people. We may miss. The world may be screwed, but if we do nothing, it's all for naught anyway. We have an opportunity to try.
I have done something a very long time, and what I have accomplished has only made it worse.
Yeah.
Everything that we have turned our hand to has just led to more ruin.
Yeah.
Now you carry this, and your hand has become much, much stronger in its capacity to inflict further ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not envy you that.
Which is why I'm very reluctant to use it again, Ishmael can attest. I am very careful upon my drawing of its power.
Indeed, my lord, as he says, does not use the power of the crown lightly, but he recognizes that, having seen the face of the true enemy, such as it is, that if
what do you mean? She butts in immediately as you say that. What do you mean?
I spoke to the true enemy. I spoke to the thing that covets the crown. The thing, the darkness, I guess, is the.
She strides forward with an outstretched hand, just completely focused on Kameron now, intending to obviously put a hand on your forehead.
I'll be like hand on sword hilt ready.
I will,
sword will be out, but like not like I'm gonna cut your throat.
Let her approach. I brought her here to help. If she's gonna help, let her help.
As you wish, my lord. And I'll like lower the sword, but I'm still like keeping it drawn.
If she decides to kill me, let her leave.
My lord.
I trust her. I trust her. If that is what she believes should be done.
My lord, I do not wish to cast aspersions on an acquaintance of yours, but surely if she does slay you, you cannot simply expect us to allow her to leave. I'll say, looking genuinely confused.
Do not let her take the crown, but do not harm her. What if she sees? She's wiser than I.
I will do my best to.
I'm still naive in my hopeful.
I will do my best to adhere to your wishes, my lord.
So she puts a hand very briefly, like palm first on your forehead, just like puts it there for a second, withdraws, closes her eyes. Opens them again. The one whose mark you bear, who did die and now lives again. What have they said to you?
Oh, I mean, they've said a lot of things, Rathawn. A lot of positive reinforcement, which I find very odd. But essentially, it wants to unmake the world, from my understanding. It made its first major step by singing a kind of song of discord that made the moon bleed and unleashed the wild hunt. Like I said, things have been happening. However, I did manage to negotiate with it before I had the crown, in fact. Not that I want to big myself up, but there you go. Before the crown, and got it to agree to fix that problem. Because again, it likes the fact that I am trying in a strange manner. I think it amuses me. It amuses it that I think that I can make a difference. Why? What do you know?
There are many pieces that fit here, and I think they fit too well.
Is that a bad thing?
Which makes me think that there is something is hidden now.
Perhaps
she looks like just lost in thought entirely.
Perhaps you can help me find what is hidden.
Please persuade.
Persuade.
If you would want to, you don't need to roll if you don't want to, because that is your.
I'm gonna try.
What are you trying to do? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get her to join up in your team, your court.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm persuading her that just to stay to find out what is hidden. Just stick. Just give it a go. Just dip your toe in.
Is there any chance I can potentially lend a persuasion dice by basically highlighting how much he's managed to do so far, and the fact that he appreciates the fact he can't do everything on his own. So he's also, he's not full of his own self-importance. He's willing to reach out and say, "I need some help."
Unlike last time, I actually have persuasion as a skill.
So good man. I'll treat you a dice. I
have a shot at convincing her this time.
I'll treat you a dice from my map.
Right. Can I fork in anything? Can I fork in Dulciriath wise?
Yeah.
And just be like,
let me know how. And
just being like, you lived through that time period. You've seen far beyond anything that we have in our time. What could be that you're missing? What could be the thing only you can find the answer to? Just drawing upon my knowledge. Even now, you mentioned the foxfire stain, which I didn't know existed, and now I have to go back.
I did mention it, and
okay.
I didn't see anyone,
I probably
perk up
didn't
at
make the
that.
connection because the city wasn't directly connected to the thing at the time. There was no real.
It was, but you did not
Did not know.
realize you had not the knowledge that you have now. Yeah.
So persuasion.
I've mentioned it once, and it was that
and
time
also,
we were in.
I did have it in my notes, but obviously I wasn't there in character.
Yeah.
So I'll get 2. Anything else I can throw into this bad boy? What is the difficulty? Do I know the difficulty going in?
Yeah, 8.
8. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's the same as it was last time, except last time it was 16 because you didn't have the skill.
Okay.
Might I suggest, my lord, you use some Arthur on this?
I'm even with Arthur, I'm 1 short.
Well, I'm gonna say you're gonna get a circumstantial bonus of 2 dice now, advantage.
So 4 advantage essentially.
Well, one from
John,
your boy Ishmael,
one from
2 from the advantage that you have because she doesn't, like, you've introduced some new data that she cannot immediately put into place. She is interested now, like what is she missing? So that's 3 from these 2
and things. I do have the crown. I did get it, and she was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I honestly thought
you couldn't do it.
It would go down, as I said, you would die.
Yeah, so 4 basically 4 total at the moment.
Well, where's the 4th one coming from? Sorry. Droll Sirius.
Yeah, and then I'm going to pump 3 Arthur in because I need this. Okay. And the difficulty is 8. God. Yep. Don't fuck me now, dice. Oh, come on. Amazing.
Cameron doing the Kameron.
Man, I tried.
Yeah,
I tried so hard. Okay. Well, at least I get some experience.
Right. Well,
I'm just shot in my Arthur pool. Sorry, no. I didn't.
I know someone who is going to get a reward at the end of the session from the Arthur rewards.
Yeah.
We need to remember that, John.
Well, I'm going to still keep trying.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm gonna...
Yeah. So, and yeah, please mark that down as a challenging test. Also, good point to reinforce this. This is challenging, even though you had more dice than you had obstacle. But Arthur don't count here, so it is still 6 dice versus 8 obstacle. So you're good for the challenge. Yeah. Right. So. Rathawn says, I don't know that I should. I failed too many times. I don't want to steer you.
Advise me.
Steered so many before, and it has ended in failure every single time.
I'm not afraid to tell you you're wrong, Rathawn. I went to the bottom of the earth to get this crown, and you said I couldn't. I want your help. You're not a curse. And I think you've forgotten, maybe you've lived so long that you've forgotten that the important thing in life is, doesn't matter how many times you fail, it's standing back up. It's trying again. It's finding a different way. We don't have a lot of time left, I think.
No, we should all find one of the ships if there still remain any.
But that's this thing, this darkness, for lack of a better word. That's what it's trying to do. It's trying to scare us away from even trying. I mean, look, if I didn't live through it, it would have sounded fanciful that a drunken dwarf exiled from his family, a pretentious elf, and a man that tried to summon God and failed would actually succeed in picking up the crown, but we did because we kept going.
From what you've said, though, you did
And
manage to summon what you were reaching
twice,
out to.
actually.
My lord, lady, apologies for my interruption, but I am not wise like you. I do not have any knowledge of these strange arts that you wield, but it seems to me, as someone who has fought for most of his life, that if the enemy can persuade you to flee or to capitulate without even a struggle, then their victory is certain. Whereas if you, no matter how outmanned you are, if you struggle against them, then at least there is a hope of victory and a better tomorrow. Whereas if we all leave, we do exactly what this darkness wants, then we are effectively handing it to the world.
I will stay in the city.
I have a job for you if you're willing to help me with something. Something that
I
does not require
want
advice.
to stress this.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot be guiding you because I don't think I should.
I understand.
But I will remain in the city.
I will find you somewhere to stay if you wish.
Never you mind this. These matters are trivial. I will make my arrangements.
Sorry, I forgot that you're an ancient wizard lady.
He smiles.
Yeah. Would you at least join me for? Would you at least join me for dinner, so we can talk about what's happened in the last couple of years?
Fine.
That's not advice. That is just sharing.
The trail rations have been plentiful of late.
Mm-hmm. If there is if you wish work, one of the things I desperately need help with, again, your contribution is up to you, is figuring out a way to either bypass or forestall my ancestors' control from the north. His brand. If there is a way to, you got around it at some point.
What do you mean?
The king. How do we prevent even reduce? Is the crown the only option? Do we have others that we can look? Do we have?
It's the crown. I did not escape. It's
If I used the crown, could I subdue it at a critical moment? These are the kind of questions that only you can answer.
The crown that you have eclipses the one that I have made thoroughly.
Did you make this one?
No.
I did not think so.
But it is the only thing that does. And it's sibling crowns, no doubt.
Can I share its power?
Have you tried?
Not yet, because I need to understand its limits or the consequences of its use. There are many stories, a lot of them poets, and very interesting depictions of what happens to one who tries to draw upon it. And I saw what happened when Ishmael tried to use it. That is why I'm glad you're here, because I had to start doing something.
It is invested with a Well, I suppose there's a reason why you refer to poets, because I suppose people like us don't really have the words to describe it as such, but it is a fragment carried down from the stars, fragment of power from the source of all power.
It is something unlike I've ever experienced. I had an idea of using my enemy's tactic against it, bearing my own sigil instead of controlling my subjects.
You would safeguard them.
Yes. So that they may fight on an even front rather than.
It is not a terrible idea. Something to look into, perhaps. Mind that there has been very few individuals on this earth that have the necessary combination of capability and fate that are not devastated by the celestial power invested in that thing.
Almost like I was made that way. It's something I think on often. Something that my gesturing at the shadow delighted in talking to me about. So I understand exactly what you mean when you say that you should not advise me, because it's almost like pulling a compass off its intended route. Understand. Well, that is one of the things that we could work on together. I'll also have to introduce you to the War Master. You might find him quite the character. Someone that you may know from history.
And I guess we'll cut at that.
Yep.
Yeah. So you sort of share the rather more mundane stuff, I guess, over dinner. And
yeah, just I mean, again, it's not me trying to get more information. It's just more like, oh, I did this, went here.
Yeah, just basically giving the story.
Yeah, he's what I've heard about Beric, you know, and the lands from the north. Just some news.
Yeah. All right.
So I sort of got her on board, but not fully. She's not joined the team, but she's on the council.
Yeah, no, she's intrigued, but she is, as is probably apparent, like she is very adamant that she should not try anymore because she has a lot and it's been bad.
Yeah.
So she's putting on the brakes. Like I don't want to mess up anymore. Right, but she is going to hover because now you have her interest.
So I'll take that.
Yeah, and as situation develops, like this will count for now, but it's not permanent by any means, but it counts for now. All right. Okay. So next on my little list here that I've composed is the establishment of your council.
Right. Yep.
Which we've sort of Ishmael was talking about something along this line as well. It's bringing in, trusted people. And
yeah, and I mean, I think personally, like you should combine that with your idea of like holding a tournament, like say potentially with the Dagger as a prize, get yourself some money from like people, like giving like a traditional gift to take part in the tournament. True gold dagger as a prize, and obviously like that's just like to the most mighty person that you can like dub a champion or something like that, and like the king's champion or whatever, and then
give us a chance to recruit people as well. Oh, they're really good.
Yeah, basically. So you can say like, the 12 greatest knights shall be my inner council or whatever, and the bravest shall receive this true gold dagger forged by ancient dwarves and be dubbed the king's champion. You get the money they pay in to like enter. You also get to like see who's the best warriors and whatever that you get to pick for like your round table sort of thing.
You've
bad
heard the War Master, both of you, a couple of times ask, like, I tire of training these single warriors. Where is the army? Bring me into the army.
Yeah, because thing is,
Make it the army.
if you also get like the knights, the nobles, and they're part of your inner circle, then you've sort of by proxy also got whatever men follow them.
Yeah.
Like the household, effectively. So I mean, I've probably got like enough noble connections to like put the word out. The only thing would be you'd need like a suitable place to host it, etc. You'd probably need to splash a bit of cash.
Syriaf's great this time of year.
You'd probably need to splash a bit of a cash just to like arrange it, which may be an issue given the lack of cash at the minute.
Yep. So, just to, jump into juicy bits here. Are we going to say we're going to put the council on hold until we can bring in the sort of like King's Champion as well? Or are we going to do that, like start that now and then go deal with other stuff and add on later?
And obviously it's down to the king, but I'd say like
king decides.
I'd say get the tournament started like as soon as we can.
I think I'd put together the first meeting of the council, and these are sort of like the preliminary members. It will grow somewhat over time, so it'll be pins and needles. Obviously, I'll make sure that I make good on my or I'll not make another enemy. The nobles who joined me in the beginning, my guard captain, obviously Ishmael, Wyatt if he's back by that point. Not. I would have a seat open for the dwarfs and the elves. I don't expect anyone to show up though. It'd be funny if someone did though, like just an elven lord just shows up and goes, "Well, I heard that something was going down, so here I am."
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, man, get your tournament held as quickly as you can. Obviously, I'm going to like try and participate in it because nightly fighting and trying to become the king's champion and all that. But yeah, I could certainly put the word out to like the nobles, and then I don't know, maybe if we'd got someone who'd like happen to turn up who could help us like arrange it, like a dwarf or something like that, we could that'd be an easy in for John Drury's character as well, effectively.
Yeah, I'm also going to send a personal invitation to. This will take some time to get a response, but
just summon something and have it sent.
No, John. I want the if the name's again the name. I'm getting tired. The name of the dwarf who took us in Rathawn.
Beric's Royal Brewmaster.
Yeah. I don't know if he's gone to Beric's lands at this stage, but if he hasn't, I'll send a message to Rathawn if he wants to join. He's welcome in my city. I'll find a place for him to do his trade.
Yeah, I mean, because you've got, unless the plan's changed, you wanted Beric's Emissary on the council as well?
Yep, I did, yep.
Yeah, Royal Brewmaster.
Oh, man, that would be, yes, a Brewmaster
get him
Emissary. In. 100%.
Yeah.
I actually I will approach the council, and for funds, I'm very tempted to turn to the pins and needles, actually. And just coach it in the terms of like, look, I've been around, I've travelled, okay. You help set this up, get the ball rolling. You're gonna have a bunch of like gambling things going on that I don't want to hear about, but you can make plenty of money from this. You can make a lot of coin from the people coming through. Just don't kill anyone. If you want to think of the knights, then think of the trade, the information coming through.
You want them to bankroll your tournament?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Because I honestly think they'll be easier to deal with than the nobles at this stage. Because they would want They would just want straight money, I think, rather than like favors, like, oh, I want you to marry my daughter type thing. You know what I mean? I won't be tangled up in stuff too much at this beginning juncture.
So they do want well, fuck it, let's roll. Let's see what happens. So,
but also I'm thinking if one of the nobles bankrolls me, then they may want like a favorable position in the tournament. You know, it may appear that I'm favoring
yeah,
the
you're
house.
favoring
That,
it, yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid this. I will have to at some point make that kind of deal, but I'm trying to circumnavigate. For the
So,
moment.
it's whatever social shenanigans you're planning on doing to convince the pins and needles. The obstacle is going to be 3.
3. I'm going to use persuasion. I'm hoping John's going to have his back alley stuff that he can help me with that.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, I was hoping more to basically say, appeal to them and say, oh, obviously, you know, if you're in favour with the king, he has a lot to offer. He's very powerful. He's invested me with some of his power. Get someone to like stab me with a sword. Oh, you see the lack of harm that's done to me. That's just a tiny sliver of the true king's power that he's invested me with. So, you know, like being on his good side, probably a good thing. That will be how I'll be sort of phrasing my persuasion. Because I'm like, oh, they're like a criminal syndicate. If you're like, they're dealing favours and stuff like that. But if you're like, oh, look, he's just basically like thrown me like complete immunity to like bladed weapons because I'm like his mate. Like, you know, if you want to get in on his good side, you know, you might get a bit of this, you might get a bit of something further down the line.
Something.
Without making any direct promises. So I don't know if I can chuck him a persuasion dice for that.
Yeah.
There you go, have a persuasion dice, my lord.
Okay, there we go. So get 1 from that. I get 2 basic. I'm going to put 2 Arthur in.
So if you fail, they will still be on board. They will be on board regardless. But if you fail, now that I actually, you know, A, get the chance, and B, remember to do the procedure correct and talk about the failure before. If you fail, they will have, rather than going for this, like, oh yeah, you know, like you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours down the line. They will want an explicit promise for a specific favor down the line.
Okay.
They've got something specific in mind that they want.
Okay.
If you fail this, and they won't settle for anything else.
Glorious. I don't know what the favor is either. It's just something coming down the pipe.
Well, I guess in the spirit of things, it's been a while since we've done this, you know, proper. this sort of like talking about the outcomes before. So if you do fail, they will still bankroll your event. However, once you have the power to affect this thing, once you have the power to sanction it, once you have the power to look the other way, they want 1 murder. And yeah, they want 1 death that you will sanction. And it won't be, you know, your people. Like they're not wanting to murder your people.
Can I just ask out of curiosity, but obviously you don't have to answer, but are they like saying like, oh, we want to be able to kill a specific person? Or are they just saying like, at some point in the future, we want to be able to off 1 random person and you'll like look the other way?
You get the heavy idea that they've got a person in mind, but they don't want to say
that's fine.
before they come up with the bill.
Before they can get it. Okay. I will say okay. As long as it's not my people. And
they give you guarantees all you want. Like,
I was going to say, don't say okay yet. You might pass the roll.
Yeah. Do it anyway. It's fine. Make it interesting. Okay. No.
No 6s in either one of these. It's rough.
Oh, damn it.
It's rough.
Mother funsters.
But look at you developing your persuasion.
I mean, I have really done some hard persuading this session. Like, really,
Yeah.
I went up against it,
Yeah.
a really, really old lady.
Yeah. Well, if you want to make the deal, they will do it, but they want like one. Basically, they call it a red ribbon deal. So,
Okay.
like they'll give you a red ribbon, and you'll look the other way when they.
Yeah.
Murder
Assuming we
someone.
don't all die in the next few years.
They will give you the ribbon with the name of the person they're gonna kill on it when it's going down.
Okay.
So that you know in advance who they're gonna kill, so that you know to look the other way.
Okay. I'm probably not gonna like it, but I have to. There's a pragmatist part of Kameron that knows that sometimes you're faced with two bad decisions. You have to pick one. So that's I need money from someone. That's the terms I can get.
Yep.
And I'm still free to act.
Mhm.
Now. I have no sixes. God.
Yeah, no sixes at all.
I'm spending alpha like it's going out of fashion, and I'm getting nowhere.
Well, you did get your stuff bankrolled. It's just that
True.
someone's getting.
I'm pretty sure my character has the record for rolling the highest amount of dice and still failing.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, making deals with crime bosses to get money for murder. that is the crown bearer's burden.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it will take some time to organize this shit. Where will it be held?
I was going to say, King Kameron, depending on how much they're willing to bankroll you for, if you could get enough off the bankroll to like buy a premises, you could use it for the tournament, and then afterwards you're like, oh, and now I've got a premises where I can like hold my court from.
Fancy that?
Yeah, well, that depends on what you find, John.
Well, yeah, obviously, my plan is I'm going to attempt to use my knowledge of the cities of back alleys and byways to locate.
Get my notes to say I've sanctioned a murder.
Yep. I'm going to try and locate, I suppose, what we'd call in modern LA, like a fixer-upper. So, like an abandoned premises or one that's like available cheap but needs repair. Then we can potentially use the money from the pins and needles just to like do it up rather than like from scratch. So if I'm all right to make a back alley-wise roll with that.
Yeah. All right. Let me get you an obstacle here.
I'm also going to try and make a play for like persuasion, because I'm going to be trying to be persuading whoever's got the property to like give us a really good deal. Like, oh well, look, we're going to have to fix this. We're going to have to do that. Can you give us a better deal? I mean, look at all these repairs we're going to have to make.
So, I would say if you want to roll persuasion, you can put your back alley wise into that. I don't think it goes the other way because you're relying on your, like the base skill would then be your knowledge.
Okay, I'll throw this decision over to my Lord King Cam. Would you like me to roll my dank persuasion of 2, or would you like me to, but with like potentially a +1 dice, or would you like me to just roll the 3 on with my back alley knowledge?
I'd go persuasion. I think let's get persuasion.
So I'll go persuasion and I'll fork in my back alley wise.
So what's this roll for? This is for.
It's to try and find a fixer-upper property that we can then repair with the pins and needles money to use for the tournament, and later on as your like court HQ basically.
Can I assist him in any way, or do I have to be with him?
No.
Can
I fork in persuasion as well? Or would it be?
Yes. It's called helping. Though.
I'll help you.
Yes.
You shall bear my sigil, John. You shall.
Forking is when you're doing it alone, and helping is when you're doing it with someone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend some lovely persona on this as well.
So this is going to be obstacle 2.
Okay. I've distinctly over-egged this roll, the amount of persona I've put into it, but I really want to pass it. Boom.
There we go.
You also got 2 6s, John, if you want to
Yeah,
just like really.
I'm going to throw a fate point in just see if I can get an even better dealio with that. So 2d6s. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, still good.
I'll still take it.
Yeah. Yeah, you find a property that is it's a noble's sort of manor, like a large, not quite a palace, but like a big noble manor, and with a small inner courtyard, sort of like, I'm imagining like sort of Roman style, where there's house in a roughly like a square shape, and then there's a courtyard in the middle open to the sky. So you find this, and fully half of it is still just destroyed from the siege, and you can find the only person to survive from that noble house who's looking to offload it and move to the capital.
Yeah, so obviously using the money that we've effectively had like pledged to us from the pins and needles, with that persuasion, I'm obviously going to try and get like the best deal I can, because obviously we need money left over to be able to do it up, etc. So yeah, I'm just going to try and get the best deal I can. Obviously the king's involved because he helped with the persuasion, so obviously I'll be looking to him every now and again just to check he's all right with it, assuming he is. Hand over the dollar pounds, then basically immediately sort of like try and find craftsmen, etc. To fix it up in preparation for a grand tourney.
Yep. It will take some time because fixing buildings is a whole thing. But yes,
well, I'll say what I'll do is the crack, because obviously we technically the rest of the buildings for the HQ afterwards, the only bit we really need for the tourney is like the sort of courtyardy bit. So get the craftsmen to basically focus on that first, so we can get that ready as soon as possible, host the tourney, and then really we can get them to fix all the rest of it afterwards.
Righto. What's up, King? Like, what are we doing? Your preparations are well in hand, and I'm gonna say it's like because you need time for the word to circulate and all this.
I've got just a growing list of stuff I want to get to.
So I'm gonna say like the earliest, if you want to throw down as soon as you can with the attorney, like to make sure that it's happening, 2 weeks minimum to actually get people there. So what do?
I mean, being a king is just mainly, a lot of standing around and speaking and meetings, just meetings. So, speaking to Ishmael.
Got that Zoom fatigue.
Chatting to Rathawn if she is, depending on how available she is. I don't know, like how it's going to work initially. If she's going to come to me, or I'm going to have to find her, or she'll just come to observe things. I've given her a seat on the council, and I've said to her over dinner, like she doesn't have to say anything. She can just observe. She does not have to participate, but the seat is there for her if she wants. So maybe one of those meetings she will show up.
Yep. Sometimes she does show up.
Yeah, and just listens in. So at one of those meetings, I'm just going to pick one. This is to like introduce one of the things I'm looking at doing. And I'm going to be talking to some of my guards. Maybe I've got a few magical practitioners now on staff, like some talents. One of the things I want to do is reach out to the Riverlands or the Swamplands. I don't know if it has a name for the area.
The Great Swamp is what the people in Kameron call it.
It has like a more. If Rathawn's there at that time, I just sort of turned to her. I'm sure it had a better name at some point.
The swamp itself, these days, among those who know, but do not know fully, goes by the name of...
am I going to name it?
No. She says, so the people who know a little but not everything about the Great Swamp call it the Oronin. I'll put that in the chat.
You see, she's helping already. Little bits of information, useful. Oh.
But in truth, that is the name of the ancient city that was located there, and still is.
I'm addressing them. Like, I've heard tales. A lot of tales stretch truth somewhat, but there's been enough repeated patterns of this to have some kind of resonance with me. That the waters there have some kind of healing property. And we are going to have a lot of people who are going to need help in injuries that are not natural to man. So I want to negotiate with them fairly as I can to gain access to such things, even if in a limited capacity. I want to try to use them on our guest, Adelstan. It may quench the flame within, shall we say. It's a much better solution than the crown for now, I think.
The waters of the swampland are potent indeed. This would be a wise course of action, I believe.
Again, I thank you for your contribution today. That is one of the things. If we can get an emissary, send a party out there, I would like to visit them myself with my companions once we've established a line of communication. I very much do not want a misunderstanding. I'm not an invader. I'm not intending to take anything from them, only to trade for something they want. They are, while they are not part of the city, they are, as far as I'm concerned, part of what we're trying to do here. So they are under my protection as much as anyone else. Such protections I can give.
As far as I recall, if you are looking to trade for the sacred waters, I've understood your.
That is correct, or at least
intent here.
Some of the knowledge upon which how the waters work. I
do not believe they would transact with someone, a facilitator, say. I
would have to go in person.
Do not think they would bargain with someone who was not the ultimate recipient of the sacred waters. But this is long ages ago. I've never done business with them myself. Business with anyone really. But
if they're as potent as you claim, then obviously they want to deal with the person atop. I can respect
the sacred waters are very potent from my memory, and they are right to safeguard it well, and would not have it fall to wrong hands, no doubt. Whatever other meaning they attach to it is not known to me, but I would presume there are many other reasons.
Yeah, well, then we will start with seeing if they would agree to meet with us. Or if I come, I will no doubt come with some retinue, and I do not want to spook them into thinking my intent is violence.
The Great Swamp has a dreadful reputation for those not of it. It would be wise to not go alone.
I would not. I clasp Ishmael. I'm assuming Ishmael's with me all the time whenever I'm in a meeting. I will not go alone. That's one of my meetings. That's one of the more interesting ones. Okay. Let me start putting together. At some point, I'll start putting together like a uniform, kind of consistent theme to mark out the people who are working with me. I'm not totally sure on the color scheme. If John, if you have an idea, I'm willing to hear it.
Well, my obviously you want it to be something simple because obviously it's got to be mass produced. You want it to be something that's striking, so it stands out on like a battlefield, or you want it to be obvious. I would say going for like a fairly simple, bright colour. If it wasn't for the Church of the Flame, I'd suggest going for red or something like that. But obviously, that's connotation. I'd suggest maybe going for, I don't know, like white or something like that. It's like well, we're standing against the darkness. The darkness is just this empty void. We're trying to bring the light into this void. So go for like a bright sort of like tabard, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have like a symbol which is like, that sort of like flash of light, sort of like starlight sort of thing. Maybe
starburst.
Maybe you have like a starburst on it or something like that.
My idea was that the trim would be a kind of a silvery colour, similar to the crown itself. And that the neck would like sort of be like a reverse crown, where it's pointing in the opposite direction rather than up. It'd be like pointing outwards from the neck.
How about then, like white sort of tabard around the neck and around the bottom of the tabard. You have like, I suppose, like triangles of like a silvery colour to represent the crown. Then you maybe pick like a secondary bright colour like yellow or something. And you have like a starburst there where like the rays sort of like spreading out.
Yeah, it can work.
Over the sort of white background. Because then you can be like, like the king's like the new sun, which is like pushing back the the darkness.
I like the Sun King.
Yeah.
That can only end well.
Yeah. If only I could be so grossly incandescent. I'm going to have another meeting with my War Master. He's complained so much that I give him a task. I give him a task, a challenge almost. And it's kind of like, okay, this is going to be something within the city, and you need to use this is a challenge of finesse, not of blunt instrument. And it's like, if I was discussing the enemy, if I was the enemy, this is me. If I was the enemy, if I was this other king with the crown, and I knew where my enemy was, and I just like a summoner was, if I know where the thing is I want to summon is, I would go there, but I just can't go there because that would raise too much attention. So what I would do is I would send disparate groups of my people through into this city, spies, as observers, as assassins. Saboteurs, yes. So I want you to put these men you've been training. Now, there's a lot of innocent people here that we're here to protect, and that you're here to help. So what we want to do is we want to try and screen these people in a kind of discreet manner as they're coming through the city, to pick out the ones that bear. And I've shown examples of the sigils that I've seen when I was in Dulciriaf, using my Dulciriaf knowledge, at those points wisely. And like this is the kind of things you would see. And if we do, we take them quietly, because they may bear power. It's possible they may have abilities we have not seen yet, and we will capture them. This is a delicate task, one only someone like you could accomplish, being the great hero that you are.
Right? No, yeah, he's going to do it. Military intelligence.
Yeah, I'm starting my own network. Saboteurs. Because we haven't saw anything yet, but I am pretty sure this Allison, he came from Rathawn, from what we understand. He bears a sigil. He bears like a kind of corruption.
Yeah,
what I've been trying to
is a highly placed Inquisition priest from the Covenant of the First Flame.
Yeah. I know this is going to come bite me in the ass at a later point, but from discussing with the nobles, no doubt they will say I'll have to start dialogue with Rathawn. Like, if I'm establishing myself as a base of power, and they're another city, there's going to be after some kind of communication.
You quickly come to the conclusion that these people would be very happy to see you kick up an army, roll into Rathawn. Just start with the guillotines.
Yeah.
And don't stop until the Covenant is gone and we have a monarchy again in Rathawn. They don't give a shit about the Covenant.
I love the gusto, but I'm gonna poke the bear a little bit by sending them a message that basically says who I am, what I'm about.
Who are you sending this to?
To Rathawn, to like
to the Covenant.
Yeah.
Who are you addressing this to?
You know what? I'm almost in an in joke to be like, to whom it concerns. You know, like I know who's going to read it, and I know he's going to find it funny. But I'm going to do it because, like, my nobles don't know this, but I do have to show that I'm negotiating and putting out feelers. So I'm like, yeah, of course I will speak to Rathawn, and it basically was saying, you know, you probably already have heard. I am the new monarch in this area. I have risen because I bear the great privilege and burden of humanity at this stage. And I welcome you to join as part of this, but I understand that you may not find this amicable to your to your aims. So if you would like to send a envoy, you are welcome to, and they will be safe in the city. So much as they act in accordance with peaceful intent.
So your end goal being that you get an emissary here.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start opening up dialogue with them because conflict is almost inevitable. But if I could at least give people a chance to get out of the city, possibly lessen the influence of the flame in the city somewhat once they see what I can do and who I am. You know, it may make some people who are thinking of jumping ship jump ship.
So what I was asking is basically like, what do you intend here? What do you want to happen as a result of this?
To receive an envoy from Rathawn and
Wonderful.
Get an idea of what their feelings towards what's happening here are.
Do you have any specific? This is a circles roll.
Oh.
So do you have any specific qualities that you want this envoy to have, or are we just going like an envoy
that's coming to me or that I'm sending out?
I was presuming that someone would be coming over from Rathawn.
Yeah. Hopefully, my idea would be if it was me and I could get everything I want.
Yeah, which is entirely
nice.
You can roll to get everything you want.
It would be someone that is they would send someone that knew me. So possibly one of my teachers, like a fellow teacher from the tower.
And don't think necessarily who they would send. Who do you want to turn up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
if you want to, you can just say,
yeah,
I want Foxfire Daddy to turn up. That's a thing you could do, or you could say, I want my my teacher from the Tower of Wisdom to.
As a player, absolutely, I do want that to happen. That would be really fun. As a character, not really. he brings problems.
Or you could just leave it at, I want an emissary from Rathawn, and I'll deal with the rest.
Okay, I'm gonna say, let's just say, leave it at emissary, and I'll be surprised at what happens.
Right.
Okay. Is this gonna give me corruption? No, circles isn't corruption. It should be all right.
Yet.
So what is the difficulty for this one? Because my circles is junk.
Yeah, this is how you develop it. This is how you make friends and influence people.
Do I get a bonus because I'm a king now?
No.
What about my traits?
Kings have less friends, if anything.
Oh man.
So broad occupation, because you don't care who it is. It's just an emissary. Well, I suppose it is a specific. It is an emissary.
Now, I feel I should point out I do get a 1-die affiliation with nobility of Rathawn. I don't know if that applies here.
If you use it, then it does, and it also means that the person is Rathawn noble.
Oh. Oh, temptation.
So
yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's
Okay.
bring in.
So there's going to be a Rathawn noble envoy coming over.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay, it's going to be obstacle 3.
Obstacle 3 circles. I get an advantage from having the the thingy. I'm not going to use any answer on this because I'm really out. Oh my god! You know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I don't even say anything. I am going to use that fate point immediately. Oh my god! Well, there you go.
Yeah. You
Well, it's still a
succeeded on every
success.
die.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you will have an envoy turning up, and yeah, it's going to be a Rathawn noble, who is a noble sort of diplomat, courtier type figure, who I will generate a name for. Okay, let's go with this Sangain.
Has John made a sigil? Nice, John. Thank you. Didn't see that until just now. King's work is never done.
The Sun King.
Sun King.
Sunborough.
It's only a few years away from me being the Sundered King. Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I can do in the short term. The more stuff that's coming is probably I'm going to have to leave the city to deal with.
Yeah, also, you put down on your circles. You rolled up this dude, so you can put it in your circles and keep track of him.
And the relationship thing.
Yeah, the envoy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll do that. Hoping he'll be favorable towards us.
Yeah, he will, because you succeeded. That's why it's not a priest.
Yeah.
It's
What's
a
his
noble
aptitude towards me? Is that a thing that I can establish straight off the bat?
Yeah, so that is your you can put 1 dot on there.
1 dot, yeah. Oh. No, I won't do that. Not yet. Have I heard back from Beric again by this point? Or is it still not?
So
some time has passed.
Your last was what? Remind me.
Yeah. Might have been a couple of weeks.
What was your last message?
It was the original one, which is he replied to me, and I sent one back, asking for an emissary to be sent to the council, asking for further updates.
Right. So yeah, let's just have it be
if the Brewmaster turns up,
yeah,
this game's about to get to a whole new level.
Yeah. So I will do that.
I love the thought of Kameron being like, yes, I've got to drop at the darkness and forge an alliance of men, elves, and dwarves. That dwarven ale, though.
Yeah. So, Droll, the emissary. Yep. Droll, the brewmaster, is now the emissary because he cannot be the brewmaster yet. But he has a way with people.
He does. He's strangely likable.
So he's acting as the emissary from Beric.
Or Beric, yeah.
Brilliant. And it must really freak him out because, I remind him of me from the Covenant of the Flame, who's now essentially in opposition.
Yep.
And I'll thank him for his hospitality. In fact, he's welcome to stay at my abode for as long as he wants until he's settled. Meager that it is, I will return the favor.
Yeah.
One does not forget the kindness of dwarfs.
Mm-hmm. Or the brew.
Or the brew.
Or maybe one does forget the brew.
And I will unfortunately tell him at the sorry state of the brew situation in this city, which he is uniquely qualified to resolve. I'll ask him if he's spoken to Oscar as well. If he knows how he is.
No. They've gone. He hasn't, gone north.
Doing everything. Any news from like this king in the north? This.
Yeah. No. He's heard basically all the same stuff you guys have.
Nothing new.
He's kept up on things. He's, he's had some talks with some of Beric's other people and all that. But yeah, no, he doesn't have anything to add, so to speak.
And I'll get his opinion. Again, this doesn't have to be now, but get his opinion on what dwarven holds still exist today that we are aware of. Like, which ones would be the more amicable to aiding us?
It's the one.
The one.
There's the one hold that exists today. And they don't care one whit for the troubles of man.
That's a shame. There's a lot going on out here.
Yeah, and there's some people on the inside trying to change that. But it doth take a lot of work. Because the dwarves and their minds are like stone and iron.
Unmoving, unbending through time. My best friend was a dwarf.
Tyrell in the corners.
He went too dark, you know what I mean? He had one bad day and he never came back from it.
He was supposed to defeat the darkness, not join them.
All it takes is one bad day.
Anything else on the king's to-do list?
I not in the immediate vicinity that I can think of. That's pretty much a lot of my list I had, essentially, that I was looking to get to, and coming up with ideas in between the sessions as I develop this, beginner nation.
Yeah, and there's the interesting fact that we have not talked with the ruler of Karamoros about this shit. You've talked to her, like maybe there's been,
You mean you make a solid point. You make a solid point. But they rule by the consent of the people, and the people with me, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it is treason then.
It is treason then. Yeah.
Just promise you'll give back the emergency powers after the crisis has ended. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll make some of them permanent.
I
Not all of them,
mean,
though.
someone will end up, scarred and disfigured.
But my resolve is as strong as ever.
Endlessly entertaining.
Deformed. Yeah, so that was it. Scarred and deformed.
So in terms of like I don't know if Ishmael has something going on right now, but
Yeah, I was thinking if there's nothing immediate and we're either way we're gonna have to wait for a bit before the festival can kick off. If you wanted to, you could travel a bit. If there's
before the Festival du Soleil.
ooh,
God damn it.
well,
That's what it's going to be now. The circle of the sun in the courtyard. Holy shit.
That's it, man.
There's going to be knights on trapezes.
Yep.
Great. Wonderful. Just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, man. But
we've got the Dark Watchers and we've got the Blazing Knights.
I don't have anything specific that Ishmael will be doing beyond, trying to use my noble connections to basically help get everyone like G'd up for this tournament that's going to be going on. Because obviously, like I said, it's going to take some time, as you've said, to spread the word of it. But I'm just basically trying to like use my reputation as an old war hero, the contacts I've got amongst various nobles. Now I've sort of started letting people know it's me. And sort of like reclaiming my past a little, sort of the contacts I've already made, start sort of like putting the word out amongst them, just trying to like help with that as much as I can in general.
So, I suppose what's the king's word? We know that Ishmael will spend time on this. What doth the king decree? What happens next?
Well, I want to go to the Elven lands. I need to help them, but I probably need a bit more. Like a bit stronger, army-wise, more might in terms of like. Before I make that play, so I'd probably go to the swamp lands. That's where I would eventually, because I need to be back for the tournament, so the swamp lands are probably a lot closer.
They are in the sort of sphere of influence of Kameron. They're not very close, but they're further south along the Great River.
So I'll bring an entourage. I'll leave my War Master with the mission I've given him. The strict instructions not to be very careful that the people are not the enemy. The people are not the enemy, but the enemy is among them. So we have to be careful. Okay, and I'll take obviously Ishmael. Whatever character Dewey wants to play, he can come with me as well. Dwarf Wyatt.
I imagine when you go to see the War Master, you're like, that might sound rude, War Master, but were you bold and wearing Terminator armor last time I spoke to you? Is that Lightning Claw new?
I'll invite Wraithwind, but I probably know she'll refuse.
Yeah, no, she's not coming.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But the invitation was there. I will take a few knights, horses. Not a massive force, but enough that if we are attacked.
Well, I will highlight you have no knights. You've got.
That's true. I'm a broke ass
guards. You've got some of your guards from Sir Raphael Egris's Holy Warriors group.
You just take a small party of them.
I'll just take a small party.
Right, and Ishmael is going, I presume.
Yep. If the king's going, then I'll be sort of super glued to his side as always.
Yep. And we'll there's going to be some people, as we have the cinematic version of this. There's going to be some indistinct people towards the back of the row.
Camp followers, like baggage handlers, and
for Drury. Drury's character. So no, how many are you taking, Kameron?
Probably about 12.
All right.
Small band. The
Ishmael
Fellowship
is
of
the
the Crown.
13th warrior.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
I bring? No, the question is, do I bring the crown with me? That's the big one. That is the big one.
Yeah.
I would say that depends on like precisely what you're hoping to get out of this mission into the swamp.
They may require proof that I am not just some false individual turning up telling them that I am this, forgotten line of kings suddenly returned. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a very clear box that has the crown in it, but it's not actually the crown; it's a facsimile. That's gonna be with my entourage. The actual crown is going to be in a less ostentatious kind of bundle, and I am going to entrust it to you, Ishmael.
I'm honoured, my lord.
I'm not going to wear it, but then they're going to have to kill you to get it, and killing you is the difficult part now because you are, shall we say, dangerous. So fortunately, I can't wear it without, being affected by it. So
I understand.
I need
I give you my word, my king, I will protect it with my life.
I appreciate the belief you just made there. Okay. And we will venture forth to the swamplands.
Right.
To Oranon?
Yeah, Oronine.
Oronine.
Yeah. So, how are we doing for time? I think John.
I was going to say it's getting on a bit for me. To be
it's
honest.
getting close to the line. Yeah.
We'll do an intro, classic cliffhanger shit. So, it's a bit of a journey. So you figure by the time you get back, you can probably start kicking off the works for the. Why am I blanking on this? The tournament. You can probably get into the tournament when you get back, so we've spent some days going more south, and it's relatively easy to get there because it is like so it's like a small area off the Great River that used to be more linked to the Great River itself, but it has, time has done its thing, and it's sort of become more swampy rather than having deep, free waterways like the Great River. However, it is still connected. So if you would have come by with boats, that would have been a possibility as well. You could probably go into the Great Swamp with boats. You would be restricted in where you can go, but that remains an option as you have figured when you get there. But you game by land, and it is indeed a vast, great swamp. And again, we use the word swamp because this is that kind of place, because there's several different words for it. And swamp is used here to mean that this is a wetlands that has a canopy. So it's a sort of a forested wetland area. And it's not a consistent, sort of cover of canopy, but there are a significant amount of trees there. Mm-hmm. And you've made some headway into, like, let's say you've gone into the swamp a day, and the next day you break up your camp, you continue along, you have your best ideas of where you're going to meet some of the local people here, and you're trying to follow some of the trails perhaps that you can chance upon here, but it's a wetland. So you've found a couple of places where there's been a wooden sort of walkway construction, and maybe some bridges built of wood as well. And sort of by midday on your second day fully into the swamplands, you come across the first sort of stone construction. It's a ruin, to use a better term for it. So it's some kind of small ruined sandstone construction, very worn down by the elements and time itself, maybe some damage long ago. You can't quite discern if this used to be a gazebo or maybe some kind of small shrine, perhaps, but it is a ruin now. And you were drawn here because you heard sounds of what seemed to be conflict. And approaching, no doubt cautiously, you chance upon a scene where there's several dead bodies around this sandstone ruin. And there's some of them clearly, probably the locals. And then the ones that they are currently engaged in a struggle with, you have seen these things before, Kameron. In your journey to the underground sea, beyond the mountains, under the wasteland to the east, you met them in the depths of the mountains as well, and also in the abandoned dwarven hold at the sort of deeper levels. Not necessarily, I say met, but you've probably seen them rather than met them. A little bit taller than your average person. Extremely pale to the point of basically lacking pigmentation. And you've probably read about these. These are, they've got a number of names. Every place has their own name for these. The easiest and most common name in the sort of human domains is the Pale Ones. These are the Uldu, the Ulufane, the white howling beasts, or the Pale Ones. They're humanoid, taller than your regular average-sized human. They've got sort of a near hairless aspect. They don't have sort of facial hair, no hair on the top of their heads or anything like that. They've got some, the ones that you saw in the mountains and in the underground sea, they've got some fairly gruesome aspects to them as well. The ones that you've met there, a lot of them that you had the chance to see that in that amount of detail, they might have had like filed teeth maybe, to emulate almost like a flesh-eating fish maybe. They had a lot of no doubt, because they were in the underground sea, they had a lot of sea motifs going on, and you and Ostor learned through an unfortunate incident that they also probably use a lot of sort of water-borne poisons in their implements of violence, because I think either you or Ostor, or maybe both of you, got nicked a couple of times in your escapades down there, and a whole thing, improvise a solution to deal with being poisoned by some of their weapons. Some of them have vaguely, like, you've seen a couple of sort of different quote unquote kinds in your journey, Kameron. The larger ones, to your eyes, recall a bit of like an elven aspect, especially because they are quite tall, and it's almost like there's a hint of foregone, noble aspect to some of them, but there's other kinds too, which are more in size, comparable to your average sized human being. These people, these swamplanders, for lack of a better term, seem to be in a grueling fight with a number of these Pale One raiders, for lack of a better term. There's a handful of the Pale Ones left. Brutal looking weaponry being used against the single remaining Swamplander, who is currently making their stand on the steps of this sandstone ruin and making a good show for it. They're using it's like some local version of maybe a glaive, or maybe a gizarm, or maybe glaive gizarm, and using the entire weapon to just keep every one of these Pale Ones away, and keeping a distance. But they're fighting a clearly losing battle. Their companion's already dead, and they probably will be soon as well. And that's where we'll leave it, where this Swamplander is fending off these Pale Ones, and you crest the hill or whatever, and then you just see all this happen.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Very much enjoyed the session, as always. Thank you for running it.
Thank you very much for running it.
Thanks for playing.
Right. I'll end the stream here. Also, we sort out Arthur and whatnot.
Yep.
So thank you again.
Next sessions we'll see what's
Until
going on.
next time.